Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush suggested tonight that the U.S. should actually embed troops alongside the Iraqi military in an effort to fight the Islamic State. But the U.S. is actually already doing that. His comments fit a pattern where the Republican presidential candidates, in their eagerness to draw a contrast with President Barack Obama, sometimes state things that are already being done.
Ouch. The Donald stood his ground. Cruz and Rubio tore into each other. Jeb tried to take the gloves off as best he could. And Christie made a great point about when will we stop talking about who voted for what bills and what the nuances are and get down to protecting the American people. So was anyone else able to survive in the vacuum that is now better known as the Republican Traveling Road Show? This is where we begin the post-debate political animal. Let's get right to it. First up, she is the veteran broadcast and print journalist, now senior contributor at the Federalist, D.C. McAllister. He is the veteran Democratic strategist and executive director of the Travis County, Texas Democratic Party, JD Gins. Lady, gentlemen, I thank you both for being with us. All right, D.C., let's go ahead and get started here. Trump, Cruz, Rubio, Christie. Boom. Stop there. Did we get out of this debate that's it? If you want to go ahead, hold the next debate, start there. Everybody else disappears.
I agree with that, definitely. I think Trump, Cruz, and Rubio were in the top tier. I wouldn't put Christie equal with them. I would put him with Christie with Paul and Bush. And then the losers were definitely Fiorina and Carson and Kasich.
Would you say, though, that at least Chris Christie made a couple of impacts here? He does have good numbers in New Hampshire, and there's something about him that still seems to indicate that it might be good that he sticks around.
It's good. I mean, he keeps the other candidates accountable from wandering off into useless debating. He definitely did that last night, correcting them.
If he does that, let's keep him just for that, if we can get off into useless debating. JD, let me come to you then, because there are those people, quite frankly, who say, look, that whether you're Republican or Democrat at this point, you've heard it all, that now it all becomes just down to those fights like Cruz, Rubio, Bush, Trump, and those. What did you see last night that impressed you? And come on, I know there had to be something, JD. Be honest.
Well, I never thought in a million years that I'd be agreeing with Donald Trump on something. But I agree with him.
Wait, stop. Hold, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, the show is now over. That's done. We're over. We cannot continue any longer. JD Gins has agreed with Donald Trump. Honest to God, I'm glad this is my last night before vacation. I don't know if I could stand it any further. Please elucidate.
Yeah, we've spent $4 trillion on the war on terror, and we have nothing to show for it. And a lot of Republicans haven't come to grips with this war on terror. It's something that George Bush started and has created a whole lot of headache and a whole lot of things. And instead of coming to grips with maybe war isn't the answer, we had a whole bunch of warmongers. So I got to say, I was actually pretty terrified last night that there's not a 0% chance that one of these people is going to be the next president of the United States. And we saw Ben Carson say something, that we are adverse to boots on the ground. And I'd like to say that American people are adverse to body bags coming back in coffins draped in American flags. And we know what the full cost of what some of these policies would really be. But instead of actually articulating real foreign policy strategy, they just want to beat up on Obama and act tough.
All right, let me get to that, if you will, for just a moment here. DC, JD does bring up a point here, because Rand Paul maybe didn't win, but he made some very good points, stood on his isolationist areas and his tactics there, but he made some good points. Maybe saying World War III to Chris Christie was a little over the edge, but did he not make some very salient points about going to war?
He made excellent points, but I wouldn't call him an isolationist. Let's get away from that with Rand Paul. He's not. He just has such a complex view of the issue, and there's a lot of steps that are involved. That he's against intervention, but that doesn't make him an isolationist. And I'd also like to correct, I don't think there were a bunch of warmongers on the stage per se. I mean, they were definitely made out to be that way. The attack on Trump saying, well, definitely Carson, are you going to kill children? Is that what you want to do? The whole thing about the carpet bombing, Cruz had to really come in and say, listen, I'm not talking about attacking a city. I'm talking about isolating where ISIS is and then just eradicating them where they are. So I don't think we have people who just want to eradicate everyone in the Middle East, but there's definitely more of a strength element. But Rand Paul, he did hold his own. I think his voice is so needed in this debate. He brings people back to the Constitution, back to how we have failed, not only in the Bush administration, but Obama has failed time and time and time again, and by allying our enemies and by cozying up to states that sponsor terror and bringing down regimes that just, you can't bring down these secular regimes when they're the stopgap of the Middle East, and we've been completely unwise and foolish in bringing down those regimes. And I think Rand Paul's the one who hit that message home.
We've been foolish with taking down those regimes since George Bush invaded Iraq and took down one of those regimes. And then we've had chaos.
Well, if you want to talk about it, JD, we've been taking out regimes since Lyndon Johnson and John Kennedy in the Vietnam War. Come on, if you want to get to it, that's the way presidents work.
I was disappointed to hear even tactical strikes, which the president is doing, or just photo ops. And I don't think that's true. And if we want to go from dozens to hundreds, then we really are talking about carpet bombing. And it would be great if only those terrorists were living inside certain parts of towns where they were easily targeted and they weren't surrounded by women and children. But instead, they are. And so when you want to
JD, that's disingenuous. War involves women and children everywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Southeast Asia, whether it's anywhere. It involves women and children everywhere. JD, when you go to war, there's going to be, and I hate to say this, but collateral damage. You got to kill the bad guys.
Well, and the collateral damage continues to create more bad guys.
Well, but our
America hasn't figured this one out, but we can't bomb our way to freedom in the Middle East.
Okay, our collateral damage, too, you could also say are the people who came down on the Twin Towers. That was collateral damage as well. I'll give you all that, but we're barely out of time here. D.C., who disappears now? I got 20 seconds left. Who needs to go?
Fiorina needs to go. Kasich, please go. He needs to go. Carson, I love Carson, but he needs to go, and a lot of that support will go to Cruz, which would be a good thing. So definitely those three.
Okay, 10 seconds, JD. Who needs to go? And don't say everybody.
Carson has to go. He's way out of his depth, and then it's over. And he really, I thought, was very embarrassing last night.
All right, here we go. We're all out of 2015 right now. JD agrees with Donald Trump. That's it. We've set a record right now. It's on tape, JD. I'm going to give this to you as a holiday present, I swear. JD Gins, DC McAllister, thanks both for joining us. We appreciate your time. Don't forget, tell us who you think won the debate. Make sure you go to newsmaxpolls.com. Continue to tell us your opinions. The Hardline continues.